There's no question that Prescott, Arizona is a desirable place to live. In fact, Prescott has been named one of the top 10 places to retire for 7 years running. But let's face it, no place is absolutely perfect. So what is the downside of living in Prescott? Well, stay with me as I run through some of the pros and the cons of life in Prescott, Arizona. First, on the positive side, is Prescott's beautiful natural setting. The city is nestled between the Bradshaw Mountains and the Sierra Prieta mountain range. Now, these mountains might not be as dramatic as the Rockies, but they do include Prescott's two most notable geological features, Thumb Butte and Granite Mountain. One thing you will notice as you explore Prescott is not only its natural beauty, but its diverse landscape. Within minutes, you can travel from towering ponderosa pine forests to the bare stone outcroppings of the famous granite dells surrounding Watson Lake. Heading north, you'll find the open prairie land and multi-acre equestrian estates of Williamson Valley, with Granite Mountain as their backdrop. Now, just a note, something you will not see in Prescott is Arizona's iconic saguaro cactus. You'll find countless numbers of them as you drive north from Phoenix along I-17, but once you reach 4,000 feet, that's the upper limit of their habitat, they disappear entirely. Another pro when it comes to living in Prescott is its history. Prior to statehood, Prescott served as Arizona's territorial capital for 15 years. Evidence of Prescott's past can still be seen along the streets surrounding Courthouse Plaza. Just 2 blocks west of the courthouse, you can find the original territorial governor's mansion built in 1864. The log structure is the oldest building associated with Arizona Territory that is still standing on its original site, which is now part of the grounds of the Charlotte Hall Museum, a great place to spend an afternoon learning about Prescott's past. Prescott's famous Whiskey Row, that's the 1-block stretch of Montezuma between Gurley and Goodwin Streets, is home to the Palace Restaurant and Saloon, the oldest continually operating business and bar in the entire state. The Palace opened in 1877 and was one of over 40 bars that stood side by side along the row. Wyatt and Virgil Earp, Doc Holliday, and Big Nose Kate number among the Palace's more famous and certainly colorful patrons. A number of the building facades along Whiskey Row have a long history and were built following the fire of 1900 that wiped out 4 downtown blocks. At that time, it was thought best to replace the old wooden structures with more substantial brick and stone, and that's what you'll see today. Though there have been a number of proposals by developers, Prescott residents have so far resisted the efforts to replace the century-plus old buildings with multi-story hotels and modern retail space. Something else that has made its mark in Prescott history, Frontier Days, billed as the world's oldest rodeo. That's an annual event that saw its inception in 1888 and draws fans and participants from across the country. So if you're looking to put down roots in a town steeped in history, well then Prescott might just be the place for you. There is almost always something going on in Prescott. Courthouse Plaza hosts numerous arts and crafts fairs, antique shows, festivals, car shows, and live concerts. There are parades throughout the year: Veterans Day, 4th of July, Holiday Light Parade, Christmas Parade. Downtown streets provide the starting point for not one but 2 major competitions, the Whiskey Off-Road Bike Race and the Whiskey Row Marathon. And I've already mentioned Frontier Days, the world's oldest rodeo, which is held at the fairgrounds during the week of 4th of July. Now, musical events include a jazz summit and a folk music festival. The Aconite Musical Showcase is a unique Prescott event held between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Now, summer brings the Cowboy Poets Gathering. The beautifully restored Elks Opera House on Gurley Street has a full schedule of performances by tribute bands and comic troupes. Patrons of community theater can expect a busy season of amateur productions at Prescott Center for the Arts. Major theatrical productions, ballets, and concerts are staged at Yavapai College's Performing Arts Center. And for a more raucous evening, you might take in a performance by the Wits Shakespeare Troupe, and that's Shakespeare, by the way. And last but not least, as Prescott's kilted realtor, I would be remiss if I did not mention Prescott's annual Highland Games and Celtic Fair, usually held in September on the Green at beautiful Watson Lake Park. Here in Prescott, not only is our topography diverse, but so are our neighborhoods. With the exception of beachfront property, well, Prescott has just about anything you might wish for. Let's begin with historic homes. Mount Vernon Avenue, just a few blocks east of Courthouse Plaza, is famous for its Victorian-era homes, but you can find vintage homes in a number of architectural styles scattered throughout the neighborhoods surrounding downtown. Craftsman, classic bungalow, Mission, Spanish colonial, and period revival styles can be found in the West Prescott Historic District. If you have a taste for mid-century modern, you might check out the Country Club area. Newer neighborhoods feature contemporary homes of many different styles. Prescott proper has, for the most part, avoided cookie-cutter developments. Custom homes abound, and local architects have adapted their designs to complement Prescott's beautiful landscape. Mountain modern, log cabin, contemporary ranch, modern farmhouse, Santa Fe territorial, just some of the styles you will find in and around Prescott. And if a golf community is what you're looking for, you've got plenty of options. The area is home to 8 golf courses, including both public courses and private clubs, such as Capitol Canyon and Talking Rock, situated in luxurious gated communities. Prescott's motto is everybody's hometown, and you will definitely experience that hometown feel not only in Prescott, but in the entire Quad City area, which includes Prescott, Prescott Valley, Chino Valley, and Dewey-Humboldt. Prescott's population is made up of residents from all areas of the country and abroad. If you'd like to live in a neighborhood with residents who have frequent get-togethers, who play pickleball or walk their dogs or hike the local trails as a group, you will certainly be able to find that here in Prescott. Community involvement is a big part of the Prescott lifestyle, and if volunteering is your thing, there are many, many opportunities to contribute. Politically speaking, Prescott is a little more conservative than Phoenix, but also a bit more liberal than the more remote areas of the state. And wherever you happen to be on the political spectrum, and so long as you are tolerant of others' views, you will be comfortable in Prescott, where we are neighbors first. Of course, there are many more pros when it comes to living in Prescott, Arizona. But as I said at the beginning of this video, no place is perfect, so here are a few of the cons to life in everybody's hometown. Though we are free of hurricanes and tornadoes, and major flooding events are rare, due to our dry climate and expanses of undeveloped forested lands, the area is prone to wildfire. And when you consider the recent tragic losses on the West Coast and Hawaii, that may be a concern for you. Over the past 4 years, wildfires across the entire state of Arizona have consumed an average of over 450,000 acres annually. You should know, however, that local fire departments and the U.S. Forest Service are extremely proactive, conducting frequent controlled and prescribed burns in the forested areas surrounding Prescott. Also, many of Prescott neighborhoods are Firewise communities. You might want to look for one of those. Firewise neighborhoods work together to raise wildfire awareness, and they provide access to grants that are available to the residents of those communities to help defray the cost of clearing underbrush and creating defensible space around their homes. The cost of living in general in Prescott and Prescott Valley is approximately 15% higher than the national average. That is a con. A big part of that, of course, is the cost of housing, and that is to be expected in a popular area where many people would like to live. This past year, 2023, the median sale price of a home in Prescott was $575,000, while in Prescott Valley, the median sale price was $460,000. The national number, that is the median cost for an existing home nationwide, was $410,200. The average wage in Prescott is 16% below the national number, and those moving to Prescott without a job will find that opportunities are comparatively few. Government and healthcare are the principal job providers in the area. And though there are no major retail centers, Prescott does have its share of big box stores. Walmart, Costco, Home Depot, and Lowe's each have at least one outlet in the area, and an Amazon distribution center has opened in Prescott Valley. Hospitality, food and beverage service, and tourism provide jobs to Prescott area residents. My best advice, unless you are retiring to Prescott, is to be sure to have a job lined up before you move here. And I'll add that another challenge in Prescott is a lack of affordable housing for those working lower-paying jobs. Prescott is adjacent to national forest lands, and we share our city with wild animals, period. Now, I personally consider our local wildlife to be a pro and not a con, but there are those who are not fond of the idea of javelina, raccoon, skunk, bobcat, deer, rattlesnake, the occasional mountain lion, and even a bear, oh my, wandering through the neighborhood. Now, statistically, the danger from any of these creatures is infinitesimally small. On the other hand, you may have heard that we did have this past year, 2023, a fatal bear encounter on the outskirts of town. So in the end, it comes down to your personal comfort level. You can live side by side with these creatures if you are prepared to give them their space, to treat them with respect, and most importantly, common sense. Be attentive, drive slowly. If you're a pet owner and you're in the habit of leaving your dog or cat out in the yard on their own, you need to be aware of the risk. Arizona Game and Fish do intervene, but only in extreme situations. Bottom line, if you are someone who is not comfortable around wild animals, Prescott is probably not the place for you. The old adage certainly holds true in Prescott. The sidewalks roll up early. Even though many Prescott venues offer live music and performances in the evenings, finding a place to enjoy a cocktail or have a bite to eat after a night at the theater or listening to your favorite musicians is a challenge. If you're used to the big city, where clubs stay open until 2 a.m. 7 days a week regardless, you will be disappointed. Also, many local restaurants and some businesses do not open on Sunday and Monday, so plan accordingly and always call ahead. You'll even notice that our New Year's Eve boot drop is held at 10 p.m., though there is a second drop at midnight for the dedicated partiers. Now, shopping. For the most part, Prescott's Gateway Mall, like most malls around the country, has been repurposed, having lost most of its major retail outlets. So if you're accustomed to spending a day browsing through Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, Saks, or Bloomingdale's, your best bet would be to plan a day trip down to Scottsdale. Of course, Prescott does have an eclectic selection of locally owned shops, boutiques, and galleries offering wonderful merchandise. But if you're looking for storefronts with names like Versace, Gucci, Prada, and Hermes, I'm afraid Prescott falls just a bit short. And there you have it, 5 pros and 5 cons to life in Prescott, Arizona. Clearly, most people think the pros far outweigh the cons, and I certainly agree. My name is Eric Matthew, and I'm a real estate agent with the Pareja Group at Bloomtree Realty right here in downtown Prescott, and I've been a resident here for almost 20 years. If you are considering moving to the area and have questions, please feel free to reach out and don't hesitate to drop a comment below. If you enjoyed this video and found something in it of value, please hit the like button for me and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you'd like to be notified when I post more Prescott-related content, don't forget to tap that little notification bell. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to watch. Cheers.